The length of time required to unclog a drain can vary a lot depending on the depth of the clog and the age of the plumbing. Because of new plumbing codes and the switch from steel to PVC pipes, buildings newer than 1990 have very clog-resistant drains. In new buildings, the clog is usually just around the pop-up assembly. These are easy to remove, but you should not yank on them. This is the most common model, and you have to first remove the lever arm from the riser by unscrewing this nut on the back and pulling the arm out backwards. This nut may hide 1, 2, or 0 Teflon washers. Try not to lose them or your pipe can leak. The clog may just be hair wrapped around the pop-up, but I like to vacuum out the drain as long as I've got the pop-up removed. This cleans the overflow and drain down to the vent and can help prevent odors and callbacks. The blow feature on a wet-dry vac can also be used as a more powerful plunger if suction alone fails to clear the clog. This can spray water into an adjacent bathroom, though, so you should not blow into a drain if you aren't sure what's on the other side of the wall. There are some newer varieties of pop-up that can be more quickly and easily unscrewed from the top of the sink. Many of these either don't contain a lever arm or contain a plastic lever arm, which is nice because metal rusts very quickly in this environment. If the sink is still clogged, it is likely past the vent, and you need to disassemble the P-trap in order to make way for a drain snake. In modern PVC drains, the snake will always go in the right direction and not upwards or across into an adjacent sink. A 1/4 or 1/2 inch drain bladder may also be used if there are no plumbing fixtures directly across or above this sink in the stack. I like drain bladders that work for between 1 1/4 and 2 inch drains, but you'll have to also buy a garden hose and an adapter that will thread onto a variety of bathroom aerators. In old steel drains, you might have to kink the end of your snake in order to make it go down, or use a drop head snake. If you're working on one of these PVC extension elbows, it might be easier to go in through the sink on the opposite side of the wall. Clogs are likely to form at one of the elbows where the drain connects into the stack. This is also where old steel drains are liable to corrode and start leaking inside of the wall. In some old stacks without curved sanitary tees, a drain snake can go upwards into the vent, and you may have to snake a drain multiple times in order to get the snake going downwards. Tubs are also often clogged around the pop-up assembly. These pop-ups can usually be easily unscrewed and vacuumed out. The snake should be put into the pipes through the overflow. Some old tubs have a drum trap. These come in many varieties, most of which are difficult for snakes to go through, but a snake might make it through after a couple of tries. I've had success by repeatedly blowing water through them with a wet-dry vac. Most drum traps also have some type of access cap that you can unscrew in order to clean them out. If you have trouble screwing it back on, you may replace it with a Fernco cap. For unclogging toilets, I like to use a toilet auger because it is very fast and efficient. But you have to be careful to avoid touching the visible porcelain with the steel of the auger, which always scratches on contact with almost any kind of metal. You can also use a 2-inch drain bladder, but you run the risk of squeezing out the wax toilet ring and flooding the unit beneath. If you know the toilet ring is synthetic, you're okay. A couple of ill-informed property managers have taken it upon themselves to change the size of a vanity or change the layout of a kitchen. This may result in a sink that is offset from the stack. If this sink is ever clogged, you may be able to unclog it with a drophead snake. If not, the building is a total loss and it's got to be condemned and demolished. Drop heads are jointed snake heads designed to drop down straight T's or other sharp angles in old pipes. They can be installed on some larger varieties of commercial snakes with interchangeable heads. Some are too large or too long to make it around any turns in any pipe smaller than 2 inches, which kinda defeats the purpose. Only specific brands of snakes are compatible with the drop heads that are short enough to be functional.